everyone. Welcome to the Uni Gap Pre Departure video. We're going to be talking to you today about everything you need to know before you leave home. So I'm Vicky, and I'm the owner and CEO of International Working Holidays. And up above me, we've got Shelby.
Hi.
Shelby's actually filming from Australia at the moment.
I sure am, and I'm recovering from COVID. It was real fun. And I'm probably the person that made you decide to do this program, I hope. Or hopefully it's come from you, but I just gave you a little push.
And I'm Jade. I generally work in the office, but obviously with COVID and stuff like that, I am at home. But yeah, I'll be working with you guys, and I have been working with you guys quite closely and getting you over to the States.
And then we have the lovely Dale.
So I do the travel stuff. I get you to wherever you're going and back home again afterwards.
By now, you guys would have been placed, and if you're doing your own job as well, you guys have probably started to get information about your visa papers coming. So that means that they're actually not your visa papers, they are your sponsorship papers, which is called a DS 2019. It does take a couple of weeks for them to come from the US to New Zealand, so please be patient with that. And if you have started your consulate appointment and some like all of that stuff, make sure that you do have 3 links. So there is a bit of a process on how to book a visa appointment. It does take some time. Once you have booked a visa appointment, and if you are at that stage now, make sure before you leave, you take and double check all of the paperwork that is needed to go to the consulate appointment, including a courier bag. So once you have gone to the consulate and have done your appointment, the consulate will send you your paperwork back with your passport. You will have needed to provide a courier bag, and I cannot stress this enough, please keep hold of the tracking number. It is really important just because it can be a bit stressful when you don't know when exactly you will get your passport back from the consulate. There is generally a 3-day turnaround, but 3-day working day turnaround. But keep in mind that you will more than likely do your visa appointment on a Thursday, then it'll be Friday, then it'll be a weekend. So you more than likely won't be able to get your passport back until the following Wednesday or Thursday at the latest. But my biggest suggestion is to make sure you keep hold of your tracking number.
So once Dale gives you your flights, you can go into Beacon and add your travel details into Beacon so that your sponsor knows what your details are and your travel details, and that you have your visa. So they just like to know. So log into Beacon, make sure you've filled in any extra fields that have appeared since you've been placed. And then they'll know. Of course, you need to let the resort know, but if you're going to the Broadmoor, there's a different way of doing that, and we'll show you that shortly.
I'm Dale from IWH Travel, and I've worked with these ladies for a long time, so we know all about each other and how they know how the travel works, and I know how the programs work. So why would you use IWH Travel? Well, why wouldn't you really? I mean, we've got the experience, we're really friendly and helpful, and we know what we're talking about. We know the visa process, we know where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to arrive. So we just make it super easy. And you can contact us by email, text, or Skype, or Facebook Messenger. So we're really easy to get hold of. You're probably flying direct to LA on an Air New Zealand aircraft, and then transferring terminals, and I'll give you a map and information about that later, to United Airlines to go wherever you're ending up, whether you're going to Georgia, Colorado Springs, or Florida. Sometimes the flights will have a transit in Sydney, but you'll go all the way from Auckland to LA or San Francisco via Sydney. So it's really just a stop. You don't even enter Australia. You just hang out in the airport for a wee while. So that's usually the way the flights go.
Okay, my best tip for not missing a flight or not being late is when you arrive at an airport and you've got to catch another flight, go straight to a screen that shows the departures, find which gate you need to be at and which terminal if you have to change terminals. Go straight there. Don't get coffee, don't go to the loo unless you're busting. Go straight there, find your gate, and then you can look up on the screen and see when you need to be boarding. and then you can go find coffee, go shopping, go to the loo, all that sort of stuff. That's what I do all the time, and I've never missed a flight. Of course, if you get stuck in customs, a little bit different. If you are stuck in customs, keep an ear out for people calling out for your flight, because sometimes they grab you out of the queue and they put you at the front if they're looking for you, if that particular airline is looking for you.
And I actually have a quick tip to add on that as well, if that's okay. So more than likely, when you fly into America, there'll be a lot of other international flights that land at the same time your plane lands. And there'll be a massive queue to go into customs. So my best recommendation is, even before you go onto the plane and you can align where you sit, try get a seat either close to a door or an aisle seat, because you want to get off that plane as quickly as you can and bolt to the line, so you're not going to be waiting for a longer period of time. So that's my tip, is to get out that plane as soon as you can and just beeline it for that line, because there'll be a few other people on that line as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do that as well, Jade, and I walk really fast once I'm off the plane, and everyone else dawdles, and they're space cadets basically, because no one knows what's going on. If you've really focused about where you want to go, you can take really big steps and get there before everyone else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can't have your phone out when you're going through customs as well, so do be aware. Have a book ready, because you will get in trouble if your phone is out and you're trying to listen to music or an audio book or watch Netflix or whatever it is, trying to hook up to that Wi-Fi. But do be prepared for a big long queue, and make sure that you're going through non-immigrant visas, because you are entering on a J1. So if you see a line for ESTA and people are calling out for that, that's for people who are traveling to the US as a tourist. It's normally a lot faster than a non-immigrant visa line, because you do have to show all your paperwork, which does lead us to another very important topic, which is keeping your DS2019 with you at all times.
Absolutely. So this does not go in your check-in bag. This stays with your passport at all times, and as Abana said, throughout the entire year. So when you do get to your hotel or your accommodation where you are staying, see if you can try organize a really safe place to keep that passport and all of those important documents, because this is very important.
Now, something very important to be aware of is that you do need to check in with CIEE on your arrival to the United States. You will get an email directly from them. There is a free phone line. So if you just revert back to your Beacon profile, you're going to be able to find all your contact numbers on there. Legally, CIEE do need to know where you are. So you do need to just register with them, tell them that you've arrived, you're safe, you're happy, and they know where you are, what you're doing. You're not up to any mischief, which I'm sure you're not.
So your flight home, wherever you go to work, whether it be Florida, Georgia, Colorado Springs, or maybe somewhere else by the time you watch this video, your flight on option 3 is back from LA only. If you want to hook another flight onto that, you can let me know and I can give you a price to do that.
We recommend usually to wait until it is time to leave, though, until you decide how you're going to get back to LA, because quite often you've met some people, you might want to do a road trip from your resort down to LA, or you want to go to Las Vegas on the way home, or you want to go to New York. So that's the reason that we don't book your flight back from your resort, because 99.9% of people want to go and do something else during their 30 days grace period, and this is the way to do it. Okay, so when you are in America, you'll be paid in US dollars, and in your PDF steps to America, you'll find a link to your WISE account, which stands for TransferWise. It's a US dollar account that you can set up online before you go. You can get a debit card to spend money from it, and you can get paid from your resort into this US dollar account. So when you tell your resort your bank account number, you click into your WISE account, click on account details, copy the account details, give that to your employer, and they'll be able to pay you directly into your US dollar account. Then you can transfer money into other currency accounts like New Zealand dollars and vice versa. So if someone wants to give you some money for Christmas, they can put it straight into a New Zealand dollar account, and then you can transfer it through Wise into a US dollar account for when you go.
Another thing that you're going to need to set up before you depart for the US is a ride-sharing app such as Lyft or Uber. Make sure that this is already preloaded into your phone. There will be Wi-Fi when you do get to the airport. There's Wi-Fi in a lot of places in the US. But a very key thing is to make sure that your credit card payment is working before you depart, because otherwise it is a bit of a mission when you are offshore to set this type of thing all up. So if you are from Auckland, the chances are you probably do have Uber at least, but some of our South Island friends that are making it to the United States for the first time, you might not have ever used one of these apps before. So get excited. It's very good. But just make sure it's working in New Zealand before you hop on over to the US.
So Broadmoor needs to know when you arrive, what your flights are, all of that type of information. And how they do and how they receive that information is actually by you filling out a link. It is really, really important for you to fill out this link, and you will either get an email from myself, and sometimes Dale likes to double check with you as well to see if you have filled out that link. So keep an eye out for that email. Make sure you fill it out correctly, add the information that is needed in regards to your itinerary so you can get your accommodation secured before you arrive. With other students that are going to different resorts, what is going to happen is if you are working with Dale, which I assume you are, Dale will send Vicky and myself your itinerary, and we will let the resorts know when you arrive, and then they will email you to confirm everything when it is closer to the time. So yeah, that's how it works in a nutshell.
And also the link for the Broadmoor arrival is in the Facebook group.
So we're filming this video in March 2022. At the moment, you need a COVID pre-departure test 1 day before your flight to head to the USA. This is likely to change, and I always send links and information about the latest information when you book your flights and ask you to recheck it before you go, because it is changing pretty much daily at the moment. So if you do find that you need a test to leave, you can go to Rayco Science, MedLab, or some pharmacies also do it, and they tend to be a bit cheaper, but it needs to be supervised and certified for international travel. So make sure you get the right test.
Yeah, the key thing is that it needs to have like your passport details on it. So if that is missing off your pre-departure COVID test proof, then it's not the correct one. That will be a bit of a flag.
Okay, so if you're not going to one of our amazing resorts, that's cool, but you will need to get your job approved by CIEE before you start work. So there's a placement agreement form which you can download from your PDF steps document. You need to get your employer to fill this out, and this sort of covers social security, their turnover, what job you'll be doing, make sure it does fit into the approved jobs, and you'll need to get CIEE to approve that. So you'll need to give them a call or email them the form, and they'll approve it before you can start work. And this goes for if you're changing jobs as well during your year. You do need to get every job approved by the sponsor, and they need to have this placement agreement form completed by your employer.
The medical sector in the States can be a bit confusing and is a bit different to New Zealand. So when you do go to the doctors or you've had an accident and you end up in the hospital, what you'll do is you generally need to hold on to your medical insurance card. You will either receive that from myself when you get your DS 2019. If you haven't received it, please call CIEE and explain to them that you haven't got your medical information yet when you do a check-in. So circling back, so that insurance card has your little insurance number and all of that. So when you do go to the doctors, make sure you give them that. Even if there is no payment that needs to be made, because there is a thing called excess, which means that you do need to pay some money either upfront or after once you have made a claim. So make sure that you give them your medical insurance card so they have all of your information, and then to make a claim after your appointment or after you were in hospital, just so they can have everything on file and let you know if you do need to pay money or not. So yeah, that's how it works in a nutshell.
So when you are leaving the hospital or the doctor, hopefully not, but they may not ask you for any money at the time then. That does not mean that you don't have to do anything. Make sure that you go onto your Beacon profile, download a claim report, and make a claim for whatever it is that happened to you. Why did you have to seek medical treatment? And you may have to pay in excess for whatever amount it does relate to what you had to seek medical attention was for. So just be aware, there may be an excess, there may not be, but either way, you still will most likely need to make a claim.
So when do we book your flights? I know you're all really excited to get on that plane. However, we need to make sure you've got a visa appointment first, because sometimes they can be a bit tricky to get. So once you've got a visa appointment confirmed, come to me and I can go ahead and book your flights. Usually you would fly with Air New Zealand directly to LA at the moment. That's the main route. And then you would change to United and fly to wherever you're going. Sometimes you might go via Sydney, depending on what is the best way to get you there for your date that you're arriving. And if you do, you don't have to clear customs or do anything in Australia. All you do is just hang out in the airport, probably for about 2.5 hours. Your bags will still go all the way through to LA or San Francisco. So when I send you your flights, I also send you maps and information about how to go through the airport, because you will need to clear customs and pick up your bags on arrival into the USA, and then put them on a baggage carousel for the transfer. And then you don't see them again until you arrive wherever it is you're ending up. There is also maps about how you get from the Tom Bradley terminal, which is where you're likely to arrive, through to Terminal 7, where United leave from. And it's a series of walkways and tunnels and between the terminals. It takes about 30 odd minutes tops, and I'll also send you that map. And if you check out the OE Travel Guru's Facebook page, there's a couple of really good maps and videos on there for transferring, what LAX looks like, and what to expect at the airport.
Now, just to reiterate, if you are doing option 3, then your return flight is from LA. It is on your financial agreement, but do talk to us if you are planning on doing anything else, and we can work with you, whether that be you want to go work in Canada, you want to go work in the UK, you want to do a road trip, you want to do a tour, talk to Dale. She'll be able to hook you up with some pretty amazing bus tours if that's your thing. You should be arriving to the US with a whole group of other internationals doing the J1 program. So obviously from New Zealand and from all over the world, starting orientation together. So you should have a fun group of people to be able to do that 30-day travel with. But like I said, if you do want to look at other options, then just speak to us and we can accommodate to work with you. But those 30 days are a really cool opportunity to see everything else that the US has to offer.
Homesickness. Okay, this is something that everyone either thinks they will get or they think they won't get. And I can tell you from sending people overseas for nearly 30 years now that most likely you will get a little bit homesick, because the food's different, the culture's a little bit different. It is America, so it's pretty cool. But you will get homesick when you arrive. Or you may be like me and never get homesick at all. So if you do get homesick, my recommendation is try journaling, talking to other people that have done it, rather than calling home as your first port of call. Because when you call home, all you're doing is reinforcing the homesickness, because you're missing home, you're missing your mum and dad or your siblings or your friends or whatever. So it actually makes you feel a little bit worse. So it's probably going to take 4 weeks exactly to get over your homesickness. And from our experience, and I'm sure the others can back me up on this, once you're over that first month, you'll actually really love everything and want to continue on even for longer than your visa and ask us, how can I stay longer? So just know that we've been doing this for a very long time. We have seen homesickness so many times and we've seen people get through it. Recognize it for what it is. Try doing different things like reaching out to other people that perhaps got homesick in their first month and see what they did. Go and make some new friends, go on some outings at your resort, do some journaling, do whatever it takes to get you through, but know that you could feel homesick when you first get there, and it's normal, completely normal. You just have to accept it and allow it to happen and get through it.
Yeah, and just to extend on what Vicky said, I did the Camp America program with International Working Holidays, and we had a rule at my camp that campers, like even as young as 5 years old, were not allowed to call home for their first week. They could call mum and dad after their first week at camp, but because that's the experience, is like exactly what Vicky said. Having that connection to home kind of draws you back in a way, and it takes you out of the environment and atmosphere that you're in. And just go in with an open mind, because sometimes people do have these expectations in their head, and when it doesn't meet the reality, then you can feel like, what have I done? But after a month, then that reality is probably better than what your expectation was. So just try go in with an open mind, and talk to people, talk to your managers. Like Vicky said, people are there to support you and make this work, and they do understand that it is really hard to adapt to a completely different culture. So you will get through it, and you'll be better for it.
So there will be, I guess, new language that you are learning throughout this process. And what a grace period is where you can travel, but you can't work. So in that grace period, you are covered with insurance, which is why you've got a grace period 5 days prior, and then a grace period 30 days after your contract. Like I said, you cannot work, but you can travel, and you are fully covered with insurance.
So one thing I just want to make sure that everyone understands is if you've chosen option 2 or option 3, you will have signed a financial assistance agreement, or you'll be in the midst of signing it. It will have been sent to you for signing. You have to read it really carefully, because what's happening is we're advancing money for your program fee, your insurance for 13 months, and your flights for option 3 to you via the resort. So the resort then is owed the money, and we're recommending you to the resort to pay back that money through your pay for the first 6 months. Make sure you read and understand the financial agreement before you sign it. What you're saying by signing it is that if for some reason you leave early and you haven't paid all the money back, you will have to pay the money back to us or to the resort. So make sure you read and understand it. And if you've got any questions, let us know at the time that you're signing it, before you sign it, so that we can make sure you totally understand what it means. And also, like we said before, that the flights are back from LA, not from your resort. So it's up to you to save some money for a road trip or your flights back to LA. The financial assistance is there to help you get overseas, and that's exactly why we've done it. But you are entering into an agreement to repay the money. So make sure you read it carefully.
When you are in the US, you do have 24-hour emergency support. Now, this is for emergencies. So we're talking life and death situations here, not I have lost a sock. Like, that's a true story, isn't it, Vicky? Someone really called the emergency.
I was thinking about the lost sock as you were saying that.
Oh, gosh. Please don't be the lost sock, or we will change your name to Sock. That is how you shall be known. So this is, like I said, a 24-hour emergency line. You do have full backup and support while you are in the US. They are based in the US as well. This means they're on the same time zone as you are, because sometimes if somebody is having a bit of a situation, might not be life and death, but it might be a situation that does require attention, and they message us in New Zealand and it's 3 a.m., there's not much we can do about it. Again, if you call like home, your parents, you're probably just going to freak them out. So talk to somebody in your country. So talk to CIEE, talk to a manager as well, maybe as your or HR, but you do have CIEE as your in-country support. We're obviously still here, your cheerleaders, making sure that you're out there living your best life, fulfilling all your dreams, furthering your career with this opportunity. So we are always here, but for emergency things, less so.
As what Shelby was saying, you have a support team in America, and you also have us as well. But you do actually have a handbook that has all of the information that is needed when or if you do get yourself into a situation. So my best recommendation is to download that handbook. It is on your Beacon account. So download it, keep note, and maybe highlight with the numbers. Just because in an emergency, you may get a little bit flustered and you want to quickly go through that handbook and just find that highlighted number. Even keep it on your phone as well, because there could be an emergency if you are just traveling and you are away from that handbook.
You're going to need proof of your vaccination when you travel, and it's not just your vaccine pass, it's an international vaccine pass. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. Either go onto your My COVID health record where you can log in and you can apply for the international vaccine pass, which they'll send you, or most pharmacies will do it for you. I think it's either free or pretty cheap. You take it in and they turn it into the international pass and they certify it. So it needs to be certified. Now, this is just what's happening in March 22. Who knows? Oh, look, Shelby, she's got hers. Who knows what's going to happen down the track? But at the moment, right now, this is what you need.
So I got it on my my COVID record login, where your vaccination records are logged, and you just request it. It comes instantly to your email. You download it and you print it off. Like it was very easy, very easy.
Hopefully, it won't be needed for too much longer by the time you're watching this video.
Exactly. I very sincerely hope that you don't need it, but who knows? Who knows?
Okay, so like I said, we've been sending people overseas for 30 years nearly, and what we've found is the best thing to do for success is if you have a question, do not ask your friend, your flatmate, your travel buddy, ask someone that's above you. So a supervisor, a manager, even CIEE. So if you have a question and you think, oh, I know, I'll ask my friend, they probably won't give you the right answer because they're probably in the dark as well. And you may get wrong information, get led up a garden path and get all the wrong information. It happens all the time. We see it a lot. So what you need to do is ask a supervisor, not your friend, if you have a question. You will receive training when you get to America. If you've received a placement to a resort, one of our resorts, you do get training. So again, if you've been taught something in your training and you're not sure, don't ask your friend what they think. Go and ask your supervisor or your manager or the trainer at the time. And this really makes you more successful because you're getting the right information so much more quickly and you're not getting the wrong information right from the start. And then be a team player. So always look, what can I do during training to help set up chairs? Or, right from the start, if you try and be a team player, then you'll get to meet new people, make friends quickly, and have a really successful year.
Yeah, they love people who put their hand up to help. So we had somebody working at the Ritz, and she only got there in December, but she's just such a go-getter, and she's already been promoted like in February. So got there in December, in February was being promoted to a more managerial position. So it's honestly, this experience and what you get out of it and where you go with it, it is all up to you. So be that person.
Okay, so the best way to think about this opportunity is an opening door to the rest of your life. So what you're doing by getting this amazing training overseas and being able to travel away from New Zealand or Australia for an extended period of time is all down to why we started International Working Holidays, was to be more than a tourist, to actually work and live away from home, make your own decisions, earn your own money, pay tax, all those things that will turn you into a better person at the end of it. And you're going to learn so much on this trip, so much during this year, so much about the career that you're doing, that you're going to come back a totally different person for the better. And so we can't wait to meet the new future you when you return. And we're really looking forward to seeing the most that you make of this trip. And I just want to say bon voyage.
One thing that I would want to add to that, but Vicky really did just say it all, was that when you are going through the challenging times, the hard times, the what the heck have I done? Why am I here times? Embrace them and know that you're going to come out better for it. We actually see that people that do have more challenging experiences sometimes and they get through them, they come out as the better versions of themselves. Like Vicky says, like, do be prepared that it's not always going to go your way, but you will come out as a better human for it, like in a personal way, and also a like career way as well, a professional way. Be prepared for anything really, and be prepared to make friends for an absolute lifetime from all over the world. You're about to share New Zealand with America, but also with cultures from all over the corners of the globe, which I think is such an important thing now more than ever, but it always is going to be, is cultural exchange and making the world a more peaceful place.
This is going to be something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And as what Vicky
a single thing.